Howdy howdy, this is TPot on Mordrum. So, if you remember from our debacle last time, we found all this juicy iron, which we've got in our stove over here, and we're going to find our house. Now, what I've done is offline, I've taken the liberty of looking around, finding our house. So what we're going to do is we're going to take care of this. Really would be nice if we didn't leave a mess behind. It's a bit rainy, it's a bit nasty out here. And hopefully I won't spawn too many awkward things while we're out here. But I did find where our house is located, and so just need to do a little bit more of this stuff. So that's the first thing that I want to do, is I want to get all this juicy iron back to base. I want to reestablish my base up there, and there's something else I would actually want to do, is talk about some of the limited teleportation that's allowed on the server. Now, some of y'all may be familiar on some servers where you have access to /TP or TPA in order to do some teleportation. We don't have that here. One of the things that a player can do is they can set their home using the set home command, and then they have the access to home to return to their home. Now, the thing is, there is a bit of a warm-up. That's not nice. Wonderful lag. There's a bit of a warm-up to that, so when you type the home command, it actually takes about 5 seconds before you actually make the journey. But then you do have access to it. The other thing is that I mentioned in last time's episode that we are a townie server, and so you have access to each of the town's spawns. Now, of course, if you're a member of a town and that town's at war with another town, then you can't use its spawn, but normally you can. And of course, random players have access to the spawn as well. And then, of course, we have access to the server's spawn command. So there is a limited amount of teleportation allowed on the server. It's limited under very specific circumstances. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get some of this stuff smelted. Notice that I've locked my second furnace here. I'm going to get some of this gold up here, put some of these valuables in a chest. Just the stuff that I absolutely need for the journey. And what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to set my home. So I'm going to type command set home, and now my home is set. So now if I were to type spawn, this is going to allow me to go to our server's spawn point. Notice it takes us about 5 seconds to do this. And this is so you can't use it to get out of a battle. One of the things that you'll find out is if you were to type a particular command, like home, and then I have to move, it immediately cancels it. As a matter of fact, if you type the command and then even take a tick of damage, anything that would cause you to move slightly to take a tick of damage, that's going to cancel it as well. So this is our spawn. This is actually a temporary spawn building while we are building a new spawn here. The admins are working on that right now. But if you come out here, we've got this nice little lake, some nice beacons here. If you look on the other side of this retaining wall, you'll actually find the remnants of our old spawn, which the previous owner decided to just really blow away. So, but what I want to do is I want to go back to home, show you that the home command does in fact work, and that will take us back to our original base. And then, you know, when I was editing the video from last time, I remember when we actually came up here, we had to do a little bit of maneuvering around before we actually got to. Love this waterfall here. I don't want that. And I don't want to drown either. So let's just do this then. So what happened is we had to do quite a bit of maneuvering in order to get out of this place. And that's how we ended up into the ravine. The ravine isn't, in fact, right here. So what I need to do is I need to stop this, and I need to find a way to make this, basically, I need to climb up here and kind of reset some of this water that's updated because it's just not nice. So we're going to go ahead and shut that off for a second. And we're actually going to create a nice little path for the water to go down. Hopefully it will, especially if I set this all up. Hate wasting my dirt like this. Some wonderful block lag. But what I also plan on doing this episode is, there we go. What I also plan on doing this episode is taking care of some other little altercations. So I'm curious if, yep, that is dangerous. But I gotta be me. I believe what happened is I actually went this way, followed this path, and that's what led me to the ravine. But I think this is actually a fairly nice area, and I'm gonna probably try and make this my house. Right now, though, that's not very safe, so I'm gonna go ahead and close that up. My gold is done, my iron is still going, but I will eventually want to get some type of armor out of this. I believe I have enough for a suit of iron armor. So let's go ahead and make that up. And there we go. It's got some iron armor. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of our goodies in the chest. Also, we are in our third episode, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of my vote, which I'm doing on another computer. And I got an iron block. That's a good prize. So we'll go ahead and make that some ingots, and then put that in our chest as well. So this is going to keep simmering for us. Let's put a couple more iron in there. And what I want to do is I want to go visit some of the towns on Mordrum. So if I were to the website here, if we go to play.mordrum.com, you'll actually see the dynamic map where we are on the map here. You'll notice that some of the player heads are on here. I've hidden myself because I really don't want my base to be griefed at this point. But you'll notice some of these red areas, and if I click on these red areas here, you can see different towns here. So we've got Castlevania, we've got Nautica, we've got Islandside, we've got Goliath. And so I can go to some of these little towns here and actually get a chance to look at some of those builds. And I think that's what we're going to do for the... So, I'm going to go ahead and... first town we're going to go to is Castlevania. And so it's going to take us about 5 seconds. Hopefully it's daylight by the time we're getting out there. It was night when we made our excursion. Looks like it's starting to come up here. And you can see some of the nice builds here. Of course, it is still raining. And there's some nice stuff here. One of the things about the townie is that townie, unless you're a member of the town, you can't actually use any of the switches or other things. So you can't open chests, you can't open doors, you can't use ovens or other objects here. So there's lots of interesting things here. One of the things you'll notice is that there's podzol on the ground. This is actually an area where the podzol showed up naturally from the 1.7 generation. You can see I've got the effects of it, but I can easily walk outside and get this. And oh, was that some reeds I saw? That would be so nice if I could find some reeds. Looks like we've got someone's farm over here. We do have a no griefing rule on the server, so if you break something, then it's going to cause some issues. You can get banned for griefing. So I'm not going to break blocks that look like they're intentionally placed, but I do want to take a bit of a look around here, look for some reeds or other things. I do not have grass seeds, and that's going to be an issue. There's some seeds. So what I can do is I can set up a base farm underground. So as I mentioned, Castlevania is one of the towns. If I do town spawn Goliath, that was another one of the towns that we have on the server. And that's going to take me in here. Notice how this town spawn happens to be inside of an enclosed room. Now, of course, I can't access that. I won't be able to use the oven or the anvil. Well, okay, I'm able to use the anvil here. That's rather interesting. I've got public access to this ender chest, but I don't have any valuables as of yet. But I cannot open the doors. They immediately close, and even if I try and glitch through, it's not going to let me glitch through. I believe if you have an ender pearl, you can kind of shoot your way through, but you know, that's not really that legit. So let's see, what was another town that we had? Nautica. And the towns that I'm teleporting to are some of the larger towns on the server, so they have some of the larger builds. I'll see if I can get access to that to Goliath in just a bit. So here you see this nice little spawn area. Towns usually have their rules. And then, of course, this is nice. We can actually go outside. Wish it wasn't so rainy here, but it does rain occasionally. That seems to be a problem of a lot of multiplayer servers that I've seen. So Nautica is a town on an ocean. If you go to the live map, you'll probably be able to see that ocean. And you can see here, it looks like they're starting to build a schooner or some other large boat. So lots of really good builds here. Almost expect to see a sunken boat underneath here. That would be rather interesting. These really nice trees. These aren't naturally spawned trees. These are built trees. We don't really have a tree plug-in here, so the only trees we can get are the 6 normal Minecraft trees. So these trees look like they were specifically built. This looks like a rather interesting beach path. And so yeah, what we'll be doing is taking a little bit more detailed tour as we go along. Hello, Piggy. But what I need to do is I actually need to do a little bit exploring, a little bit running around and getting some equipment, and also setting up a farm. So we're going to go ahead and go back home. Sounds like an idea. Remember, the home command will take us back to our normal place. And here we are. So what I'm thinking about doing here, my stone pick is almost done. But I really do need to set up some type of farm here. Oh, there's some iron. Always a nice find, especially at this point in the game. Still haven't found any diamonds though, and you know, one does have to start off at the bottom tiers before they can really move up. So I'm going to go ahead and set some dirt here. I eventually need to get a bucket, don't I? So let's go ahead and drop 3 iron in there. Craft some rudimentary bucket. Put some more iron in the chest, take some more out for experience. Put that back, and we'll go ahead and go back to Nautica. Since it was close to an ocean, it's going to have access to what we're looking for. Can I get a stone pick in time? Always helpful. So I'm going to put my stone pick here, and as I said, 7 is usually where I have it. So I'm not going to be able to use my bucket inside the town proper, but I do remember that in the ocean was actually outside of... That's interesting. Was not expecting to see that. But the ocean was actually outside of town limits, and so I should be able to get a nice bucket of chum here. And there we go. So now we can go home. Let me wait till I'm safely ensconced in the bottom of the ocean so I'm not moving. And hopefully 5 seconds will elapse before I die. I'm going to nom something. There we go. So now I'm going to put some water there. And I need a stone hoe. Ooh, no sticks. I need some sticks. I may have to go on another wood experiment here. So we're going to make our stone hoe. Plant some of these seeds here. Hey, I'm a farmer. And light up some things. And we've got ourselves a bit of a farm here. So, especially since I've eaten the last of my beef, I'm going to have an issue with that. So let's go ahead and put some stuff down. There's our primary and secondary blocks, and let's go explore this. And it does look a bit dark, so let's over here. I probably could use that water, but I'd like to find some other water. Lovely sound of rain. Okay, that's a nice, interesting loop. And this was the dead end. So, I'm going to go ahead and this is out the way to the ravine we were at last time. Nice in darkness. I will need to eventually start getting all that coal taken care of. That's interesting. I thought this was a bit more lit up. Okay. So somewhere around here we have our ravine. Let's go ahead and get some cheap XP. And of course all the iron we can. Ah, lovely. Sometimes I can't tell if that's actual natural thunder, or sometimes the mods here decide, you know what, it'd be a lot of fun to try and hit some of the players with lightning. So I think this is where we actually had, this is where we were. I believe if I come up here, was it back around at the, no, not so much. You know what, I'm just going to have to find that place. Let's not jump off the world. That would be a quote-unquote bad thing. In case you haven't discovered, I have pretty poor sense of direction in Minecraft. I will work on that when I start contouring this cave more to my liking and fashion. I do remember that I had to jump down into the ravine, though. And I believe it was through this way. And so... Alright. So I apparently am clueless. And so I'm going to do a little bit of stuff off camera at this episode. But the two major things that I wanted to do on this episode, I did want to get back in the saddle, finding my base, and I did also want to talk to you all a little bit about the teleportation that's available using the /spawn and using /spawn and /home and other things. So this is the ravine we were at, and so what I need to do is get some type of linkage between the access to my house, which is this way, and the access to that ravine. Probably should put some extra torches here so I know it's that way. I've got a little bit of cave here to explore, so I'll take care of this before we call it an evening. How about that? Got to put myself in danger for my viewers. And I would say that's a matter of perfect timing. So let's just scoop up this iron. Once again, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. This is TPot on Mordrum. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.